Are we in?
Yeah.
I'll say it anyway, we're back. Laid Out show. This week we've got another special guest, Michael Fafera. Yes.
You got it.
I can fucking relax now. And you brought on a guest with you. Do you want to introduce yourselves and then we're gonna get stuck into it?
Well, it's like my dad, my coach, my brother, son,
daughter,
Steve, Melton.
I'm his coach.
The former world champion, heavyweight.
Yeah,
Lost
I wish.
A bit of weight since.
How long have you guys been working together for then?
Since he started.
Since he started?
Yeah.
Just
He
over
actually
3 years.
he got into it through a charity bout. They were doing a was it for York Hospital?
It was for York Hospital. It's like a little love story, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it's good.
What was that, like a white collar then or what?
Yeah, like a charity bout. Basically, when my daughter was born, she was kept in York baby like unit thing, and there was a gym called Legions that were like raising some money for that unit. So obviously I signed up for it and asked Steve if he'll train me for the bout, and then just loved it ever since. Just thought, see how far we can take.
I seen something in him. He was training on his own at a gym at the time, just like a little weights gym, and I was in there one day and I had a couple of lads with me training, and he was banging the bags on his own, so I invited him to train along with us, and then he told me that he was doing this thing for charity, and then he inboxed me and said, oh, can I get a bit of training with you? So we did that, and then I seen something in him, and at this time I didn't like. I said, "What are you going to do after?" Do you know? He said, "I says, are you going to fight again?" I said, "I just want to see how we go with this." And so if he wanted, and funnily enough, I was actually helping out on that show. That asked me if I'd be a judge for them, so I did, and
gave me all 3 rounds.
well, no, I had to step back when he got in because obviously I'd been helping him, so I couldn't. But as soon as he got in the ring, the full place lit up, and you could see that there was something in him. And then after that, he said that he really enjoyed it. So I says, well, look, why don't you just start training and see how you get on? It was very raw. And then he went on to the unlicensed circuit. And then everyone that he was getting matched with, he was just walking through them. And then there was a rivalry with a guy who was meant to have been quite a good kid in Leeds at the time. And he'd only had a few fights. And this kid had God knows how many, about 40, 50 fights. And Mikey said, I want to fight him, I want to fight like the best I can. So, and at first I thought, well, I don't really know if that's a good idea, you know, maybe just get him a bit of, because he was knocking people out in the first round, so it was kind of like he wasn't really getting the experience. And then the fight happened, and he won the guy. They've ended up being really, really good friends now, which is it's nice. And then we got offered to go in this cash fighter. I don't know if you've heard of like the EBF.
No.
They did this big thing called cash fighter, and there was Martin Conception, who was obviously former British, European, and Commonwealth champ. Who else? There was Billy. What was his name, Mikey?
Do you know?
There was people. There's lads that boxed for England.
All right.
So it was a good high end, you know, and it was 10 grand for the winner, plus your ticket sales and stuff. And I sent an application in saying I've got a guy who'd be interested. And anyway, they got back in contact with me, and I think they kind of thought that he was the underdog because, like I say, everybody had either boxed for England or you've got Martin Conception. They were all big names, if you like. So we went into that, and when we went for the draw, it turned out that we got Martin Conception for the first round, and everyone was like, oh, poor sods. Now, I actually wanted that fight because Martin Conception was, when he was boxing, was at middleweight, I think he was. Now, he was a puncher, but he was also very chinny. I don't know if you ever watched him or if you know of him.
Not too much.
No, I'm not.
No, well, he was a good boxer. He's boxed them all. Nick Blackwell. He's boxed some big names. So I knew that although he could give a punch, he was very chinny. So and I knew that Mikey was obviously a lot bigger, a lot fresher. And the weight category I think it was between, was it 75 and
massive. It was
75
to 85 kilos.
So what I wanted to do, I wanted to bring him in sort of 73, sort of bigger, but quite trim for his size, if you like.
73.
So was it
83?
Was it 83? Yeah. Forget me. Anyway, and we got the draw. We got Martin Conception again. I think everybody was just expecting us to just another number, and we went in there, and he knocked Martin Conception out in the first round, and everybody in the crowd, you could see they were like, "Oh, who's this guy?" And then we went on and won it, and then I took him around a few gyms, obviously, because he's not had his amateur experience. He did the white collar for a year. He had however many fights. Now, I took him to Rob Smith, who was the head of British Boxing Board of Control. I had a word with him and said, "What do you think? I'll bring him down to the gym. I want you to have a look at him." I had a word with a lot of amateur coaches, because my worry is if I put him in the amateurs, and the amateur style is a lot different to the pros, and because he'd been doing his white collar for so long, he had more of a pro style. And say if I put him into the amateurs, and he has, I don't know if you watch much amateur boxing, do you? Lads, I've seen bouts where lads have won clearly every round and they give it to the other guy. I've seen good guys walk away from boxing because of it, and I didn't want to put him in that and get him have 3 or 4 defeats or whatever, and then all of a sudden he's thinking, well, maybe I'm not as good as what I think I am, and then it plays on people's minds. Boxing's, a lot of it's in your mind. So I took him around these gyms. He was sparring good people, and I asked a lot of coaches what they thought. Do I turn him over, or shall I put him in the amateurs for a couple of seasons? And every single person, even Rob Smith, said he's ready to turn. I'd turn him over. The key with him, and which is what I'm doing, he's a young lad. I don't want to rush him. I don't want to say anything too much, but after just before this fight that he just had, after his last fight with Darryl Sharp, we got a phone call and got offered for a fight in December for an eliminator for for an English title against a guy that boxed on Sky Sports. Now I know Mikey could probably beat him, if I'm honest with you, on the performance that I seen the guy. But say if he goes and wins that fight, you can't then go back, can you? You can't.
No,
you've got to just go up then. So there's no point rushing. In 18 months' time, then fair enough, things like that come along. But there's no point rushing with these things. The lad's not going to go from a 4-round fight, which is what he's been doing, straight on to 10 rounds. And if I did that, I'd be stupid, because what are you getting out of that? Like I say, once you're up at that level and you go and win that fight, you can't then say, all right, I'm stepping back down to 4-rounders. It wouldn't make sense, would it? So the key with him and what we're trying to do is he's learning and he's sparring. We're getting literally world-class sparring for him. And he's holding his own against some of these good kids, Liam Williams, who boxed last night.
What a performance that was last night.
Yeah, wow, really good.
We were out, man, we weren't caught up with it, but
good performance.
Mate, what a guy, bullied the guy. Dom's been really, really nice with us, been really helpful. Jamie Moore, he's had us over there sparring Rocky Fielding a couple of times. Jose Burton, he sparred him. Mark Bateson, obviously, who's our promoter, he's always got good sparring in for us. Billy Joe Saunders.
Yeah, that's a big one. That I was.
Yeah.
So what's it like to be in there?
Do you know what?
Ask you later, but I'll ask you now.
Do you know what, mate? He's
so hard to hit him.
Yeah, but do you know what it is with him though? He's such a nice guy. Do you know when you see him on camera? I'll be honest with you. You see him on camera and think he's a bit
cheeky.
Yeah. But he's actually one of the nicest guys you'll ever come across. He's so helpful. Do you know, after the sparring, he sat down for about half an hour, and he was just giving you pointers and stuff, wasn't he? And just chatting through, and he's been really nice. Just so, like I say, that full gym have been nothing but respectful and nice to us, and it's nice, and they're inviting us back, so we must be doing something right.
Yeah, definitely. We'll, unbeaten. Took to boxing pretty late then.
Yeah.
As it goes generally, because we sat down with quite a lot of boxers, and generally speaking, they kind of start
as a young age,
quite a young age.
Yeah.
But I guess it don't really matter. Does it
if
matter?
You've got, do you know what?
If you've got it, you've got it.
I wish I did start maybe a couple of years before I did, but
I don't want to this might be a bit of a bad example, but I mean, Tommy Fury, he's not had any. Did he had any amateur experience? I don't think he has he? Or if he has, he's had like 2 or 3 fights. Nick Blackwell, I know obviously it's a bit with what happened with him and stuff, but he came off the unlicensed scene. He had, I think it was 10 unlicensed fights, and then a promoter, PJ Rolson, I think it was, seen him, spotted him and thought, oh, you can do something him. And look where he went. It's not about the experience as such. If you've got it, you've got it, you know. And I do believe Mike is a natural, he's a talent. At the same time, I don't want to rush him. I think the key with him, and like I've asked everybody, is to make sure that we don't rush him and he learns on the job, you know. And everybody that's round us, and the coaches and everybody that's giving us our tips and stuff and helping us, then providing that we do it right and do it slow and don't rush things.
Yeah, that's it. I think we had P says it about Mick. He's like, you've got to keep these boys like on a fucking lead. Like, you just want to be off. Like, you'll just want to say, put someone in front of you, just fight us in a fight.
I feel like all the fighters are like that though. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Everyone just wants to have a go, but you just have to put your trust in your coach and your manager.
This is what happened last time. He went out, me and Mark, he came back to the corner and we're like, what are you doing then? When he got caught in the 3rd round, he came back and I says, you idiot, you've just been 2 rounds up there, and just because you're trying to please a crowd, you're now going into the last round drawing. So for your own stupidity for a couple of minutes, switching off and trying to have a fight, it's right though, isn't it? Yeah. You know, and that's what I'm there to do. If I stand there and blow smoke up your ass and say, oh, brilliant, it wasn't, it was a shit performance. The thing is, he trained, so that was probably one of his best camps. And he could have put it all, he could have really, really done so well there if he'd have boxed like he'd done against Darryl Sharp. And then he just blew it all. And then he was sat, he had a little moment in the changing rooms after, feeling sorry for himself. But do you know what? It's another learning curve. It's something that he's had to, imagine if he'd have got to, say, like British title level or something like that, and that's never happened to him before. And then you're like, whoa, what's going on here? So he's dealt with that. And he's the following round, he nearly got the guy out of there himself. So he knows how to come through them things now. So it's something else that we've learned and picked up.
Yeah, with a bit of time and a bit of perspective, it's not a good thing, but it's definitely a good lesson, right?
Oh, definitely.
I'd rather learn early on.
As
long as you take something from the fight and don't look at negatives all the time. Like afterwards, everyone was like, "Oh, what?" I says, "Guys, do you know what? He's got to win. He had an hard fight. He's learned. He'll know not to do it again." I'm genuinely, I'm disappointed in his performance, knowing what he should have done, but in hindsight, he's still got the job done. He got a win. That's all that matters. He come through a tough fight. He showed he's got guts. He picked himself up and off he went.
Exactly. So
I think there's like a curse on me with them 2 brothers.
Yeah, I said.
They must be out. They must talk about you.
I put on Facebook afterwards because I've got. Is it Edgar, the first one you fought?
Yeah. Do you know what? I honestly thought his brother was tougher than the guy who I did get dropped by in my last fight.
Okay.
Because he was a tough guy, wasn't he?
I just said, if you've got any other brothers, we're not fighting. Stay away from us now.
So you wrapped up on 2019 there. That you start out with a kind of a bit of a hard lesson, and but a win, right? Still unbeaten. So you mentioned you've got a few phone calls from interesting fights, but you've got a slow path, like a steady path forward.
We're up to 6 rounders now.
I was going to say, what does 2020 look like?
6 rounders from now on.
Yeah.
And I think the longer they go, like I've said to you earlier on, these journeymen, if you want to call them that, they're tough guys. These Eastern Europeans are out every weekend. That's their bread and butter. They know how to move around the ring. They've had 60, 70 fights plus whatever. They know how to move around the ring. You're not getting them out in 4 rounds. So the longer the rounds go, it will work in our favour. And I think now Mikey knows that you can't just go out there and hit him with one shot. And if you're going to do things like that, then you're opening yourself to get knocked out. Nobody's invincible. You get hit in the right place, anyone can go down. It's happened. So look at Anthony Joshua. Look at all these heavyweights. Look at the other week with Deontay Wilder, who was getting outboxed for 7 rounds, and then bang.
Yeah, he's a freak.
Yeah.
He's a freak. So 2026 rounders, keep it steady, keep that progress going. Then
step by step.
Yeah. How many times will
if we could look around if we can 5-6 times, depending on what we get offered. It depends on. I would like my ideal goal, whether it'd happen or not, I'd like him to get like, I don't know, it'd be nice if at some point this year we got like some sort of undercard on like a Sky show or something like that. That'd be great.
Yeah, why not?
A bit of exposure.
There's been Mick was on the Ultimate Boxer undercard. Definitely opportunities. There's so a lot of hype around Leeds and like Yorkshire fighters at the moment. I think so.
Yeah, definitely
going to be.
Just got to keep winning, and then the offers will come.
And they can't say no.
The thing is, you've got to stay. I think with this boxing like as well, you've got to. It's not just about going out there and winning. You've got to like make yourself a likable guy. You know, you've got
you've got to do one or the other. You've got to be a prick.
Yeah, well, look at Chris Eubank. Nice everyone hated the guy.
There's no in between, is there?
The guy's a quality boxer, but he's one arrogant.
He's fucking hilarious to watch. We love Chris Eubank videos. Just
yeah.
Not only boxing, just when he's just doing mad shit.
Yeah, that's just it. Like he's a love or hate. He's like Marmite, and people will pay to see him either get knocked out or win. So he does sell tickets.
Yeah, 100%. That's it. It's the UFC have it all the time as well. With like fighters will take like a certain narrative of just like being the bad guy. Mayweather did it the best, I think.
Yeah, you've got. I think what it is with it, you've got to be a nice guy, but at the same time, you've got to be able to get the crowd going and be able to sell tickets. If you're boring, look, this might sound a bit wrong, but Anthony Joshua, it can come across a little bit too nice and a bit boring. And then you've got Tyson Fury, who's an absolute head case, but if you look at them two, it's almost like role reversal. 18 months ago, everybody loved Anthony Joshua, and Tyson Fury, no one cared about him. And now, it's kind of almost like the other way around. You know, Tyson Fury's come through some horrible stuff, and he's got himself into a quality place, and I think he's showed a lot of people, you know, that are going through dark places, and if you really want something, you can get it. So I think, it's just about being yourself and being a nice guy, but just having something about you at the same time and selling tickets.
Because we noticed sitting with boxers that a lot of them don't want to be doing the whole chatting shit to people, and if it goes and it's there, fair enough, but people don't really want to be putting it on there. I think the best example for it's like Dave Allen. He's not.
Yeah, everyone loves.
He's not the greatest.
You cannot not like
fighter, but he gets big fights because he went out there and put his personality out there, and public took to him.
Yeah, that's it.
That's what gets him fights. To be honest, there's probably
way
more deserving.
And he can get the job done as well, can't he? He can get the job done as well, can't he?
He can when he puts his mind to it. Yeah, definitely. So we're gonna go to a few topical stuff now. So first one, obvious thing to talk about is AJ. You just mentioned, and going to ask you a point based on we were watching it out in Leeds, and average Joe public were like, "What the fuck's he doing? This is fucking dreadful.
People who don't know boxing.
This is fucking boring." Exactly.
He did exactly what he had to.
That's what I was going to ask you. How, as you know, trainer, boxer, how good was his performance really?
Honestly,
under that sort of pressure and
if
that
you want,
sort of stuff.
do you want to go first?
I feel like if I did a performance like that in my last fight, he would have been buzzing. So I think he did really well.
Listen, you can't get involved. He knows from his last fight, Andrew Ruiz can punch. If you noticed on that fight, the couple of times that he got involved on the inside, he got caught with a couple of shots.
Him a couple of times,
and you could see straight away, he thought, right, get back on the outside again. He did what he had to do. People who don't know boxing, you get it all the time from Joe Public when you're going out to the pub and stuff, and this is a rubbish fight, and you're thinking you don't even know what they don't know what they're looking at. You know, they just want to go. Boxing's a little bit of it's a cruel sport, really. People pay money they want to see people get they want to see knockouts,
especially heavyweight.
It's not always the case. It's not always. He did exactly what he had to do, and but I personally, I thought it was a good performance for him. Yeah. Boring to the eye, but if you're not a boxing fan, you will find it boring. But if you are and you know you're boxing, then I thought he boxed exactly how he had to.
Yeah. Do you think AJ moving forward now is going to have to take on that Klitschko style of he knows his limitations, and Klitschko kind of figured himself out, didn't he? Like jab, straight, hook, clinch.
Well, he knows he can be hurt because if you look, I mean, he's been hurt by Dillian White. But he's been hurt 4 or 5 times in fights.
Even Povetkin, give him a bit.
They've all he's been stung, so he knows.
The thing is with heavyweights, they all can bang on camera. Every single one of them. They train every day to lay other heavyweights out, so every single one of them can punch. So
So I think that's probably. So where do you want to see AJ go now? They're saying he's got mandatories. Usyk. That's an interesting one for me. I think Usyk would be fun to see how he gets on with him.
I don't know.
Is
it tricky boxer, Usyk? Like, I just think it's because he's only had one heavyweight fight. Is that enough experience in heavyweight to then go up to like Anthony Joshua, who's like on top of his game?
Do you know what? He's a great boxer. I don't know whether he's. I don't know. It's yet to see. He's not a big puncher, is he? He's a good boxer.
Well, he's come up, and so that.
Yeah,
size. I think size definitely matters at heavyweight. Right?
Yeah, I think he wasn't a big puncher at his weight, so yeah, it's too early to say. I think with Usyk, but Deontay Wilder, he's not the best boxer, but if he hits you, you're off to sleep. End of it.
That's the heavyweight fight you want to watch anyway. Yeah. Wilder, Joshua, innit?
My only worry with Wilder Joshua, I think Joshua outboxes him all day. And Joshua, and the thing is with Wilder, he can be hurt as well. He's been hurt himself a few times, but Joshua
has he been dropped before Wilder?
Yeah, he got dropped against.
Has he?
Oh, yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure he has. Oh, he's been
right. Yeah, he's definitely Ortiz both fights.
Yeah,
properly put it on him. And
Ortiz is a puncher though, isn't he?
Yeah, he's horrible to fight.
You take a big punch of Ortiz, you are down, aren't you?
My only worry with that fight with Joshua and Fury would be with Wilder would be Joshua would have to stay switched on for the full 12 rounds because if he turned off for a split second and he got it, that'd be it.
He's dead.
He's only got to hit you once in 12 rounds, which is fucking frightening.
Well, look at like I say, the last fight he was getting beat. I thought every round.
Yeah. He
got beat by every round. He was getting beat, and then bang, good night.
Out.
Look, yeah, Tyson Fury. For me, Tyson Fury, I think's like I know he had a bit of a rubbish performance last time out, but you know what? A lot of guys who don't understand the boxing have got to realise that they're only human beings. You know, like with you, Mikey. How many times have you come to the gym and you're like, I don't feel it today, or you'll spar the same guy and you'll knock him up and down the ring one day, and then you come back in the next day and they do the same to you, and you're like, well, I'm no different. But you're just a human being, and just on that night, you might not be feeling it. You know, so he's had an off night. Who knows? But for me, for the size of him, he shouldn't be able to move how he does.
Who, Fury?
Tyson Fury, yeah.
Crack, isn't he? He's like a lightweight.
And I think how he, I think personally, I think he won the last fight with them two.
Yeah, for sure. So how do you think they get on in February? I think they're due to fight in February or March. I don't know if it's properly official.
I think he won that fight just by standing up from that knockout. That won the fight for me.
Yeah, wow.
I don't know. Like it's hard to predict because, like you've seen with Ortiz, like outboxing for 7 rounds and then one backhand and that's it. Like Wilder's got so.
You've got to just keep him away and don't get involved in a fight and just box him and hope that you can hurt him before.
How tall is Wilder? 6'7" or something.
Yeah.
It's hard to keep someone out of the way as well, doing that.
Yeah.
And Wilder by name, Wilder by nature. I mean, he slings big daft shots. Here's one for you then. Carlos, do you remember a guy called Carlos Mauser? He was a welterweight when Ricky Hatton was boxing.
Okay.
And he was absolute shocking. He was the shittest boxer you've ever seen. But he was wild, but nobody knew how to deal with him. And because he was so unorthodox and swinging crazy, look him up, throwing crazy shots from all angles, it got him a world title. Ricky Hatton boxed him. It was a fight after he left Frank Warren, and he signed up with Dennis Hobson for one fight, and it was at Sheffield Arena, and he boxed Carlos Mauser, and he cut Ricky Hatton under both eyes and gave him a really hard night. Ricky Hatton stopped him in the end, but that's again, it just goes to show that if you know unorthodox fighters, they're hard to predict.
How do you go about finding sparring partners for someone like that? You can't really mimic Wilder, can you? Like, oh, he's going to follow you around like this. He's going to jab you a bit, and he's going to wait to smash you.
Get pissed up at a pub and wait for someone outside.
That's the best. Yeah, do you know what? That's it. Maybe you can't.
I think you can do your best and throw daft shots at them in the. But I think sometimes you have to you can work their style out. But I've done it before. You see fighters, and you'll watch 3 or 4 videos of them. Think right, they do this. And then they'll come in, it's a totally different fighter. They might be forward. We did it with Tommy Fury when we were sparring him. If you watched him last night, he's an aggressive fighter, he comes forward, just throwing shots. When we went
Cameras out when you spar with him though.
Yeah, when we went to spar him, he was on the back foot. you know, and it was like, it took 3 rounds for you to get in, like, into it, because we were expecting him to come rushing in. And he wasn't like that at all, so you can't really work things. I try not to get involved in watching people studying videos. I mean, they've all got a certain style and what they're going to do, but fighters will change, and it's all on who's in front of them on the night, you know. So as long as you've got your plan and what you're going to do, I think really that's all that matters.
Do you know what? I've read a lot of comments about Tommy Fury. I won't gonna ask. It went down on there, but people are saying like, how far is he really gonna go? Is he too big? Like, does he need to trim down?
We were on about this
like, because he's got like that.
He's big and
he looks like he just goes to the gym.
Yeah.
He looks like a bodybuilder.
Yeah, but he's still only 20. Like, if you think I didn't start boxing when I was 21, I was about 16 stone when I started, and like for Tommy to lose weight, he can do it if he gets the right team behind him. Obviously, he can. So it just depends what weight he wants to fight at as well. Because is he maybe better off at cruiser with like the frame what he's got? But
my only worry,
I do think he's got potential though.
Yeah,
he's
definitely.
still on the young, isn't he? So
yeah.
My only worry would be is if this, like, you know, this whole fame and Love Island thing, because like now did you see again last night when he boxed? He had probably more following there than anybody else.
Yeah, it's crazy, man.
So
and he's good for boxing that though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really good, but like, is he going to be fully seriously into that if he's earning money doing other things? You know.
Yeah, I think he will be.
I hope so, because he seems like when we've met him, he's been a really, really nice kid, really down to earth. There's another gym, Ricky Adams, when we went there, they were really nice, weren't they? Mike Jackson, he's I don't know if he's training him anymore now. I don't know whether he's left there or what, but
I'm not sure if he's Peter now. I've seen a few videos that he's on pads with Peter Fury, but
yeah, well, he was in the corner last night, wasn't he? I think.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how that pans out. You're right though. I think starting in their first couple of fights, and then he's got a fat bank account. It will be interesting to see, but then fighting family.
Yeah, exactly. It's in the blood, innit?
Exactly. So it'd definitely be interesting.
Fighting for the dinner since they've been 6 or whatever. They don't know, they do though, don't they? Them
be careful what you say, mate.
No, but the fight, they do the fight. No, but the guys just know how to fight. It's in the blood. They know how to fight.
Yeah. So last one on these topics, I want to get into our standard questions. So it's because you sparred Billy Joe Saunders. So Billy Joe Saunders, if he goes to fight Canelo, can he do it?
Yeah, because I think you'll see the best of Billy when he gets a big fight like that. I think that's when he'll literally put his entire heart and soul into training.
I would love to see that fight.
Personally, I mean, Golovkin, I think he's past it now. I think he beats Golovkin and Canelo.
I was thinking about it in the car on the way over. I think he beats Golovkin 100% now.
Do you know, I'm going to be totally honest, I thought a tough fight would be Callum Smith.
Because of his stinker, they were
just because of his size. But then
Ryder,
with his fight the other week, and John Ryder, I mean, no, just because John Ryder's a good boxer, but again, I think I don't know. I think.
But maybe that's another one though. Maybe Callum wasn't up for it because
again,
it's not like you're training for Canelo when you're fighting John Ryder. No disrespect to John Ryder.
Nah, you're right though. Very interesting.
Styles make fights.
It does. All right, so you're both going for Saunders though. If that comes
a big one, that though. Yeah.
You've got to put you on the spot. You got to make that call. So, all right, I'll let Jules take away the last few bits.
So, what are you guys' top 3 pound for pound of all times, dead or alive?
You can go for
it. Mike Tyson.
Is this top?
Yeah.
Starting at 1.
Mike Tyson. I grew up. He was one of my favourites. Prince Naseem. Just for his style.
Never had him before.
No.
Good shout.
No, Prince Naz and Floyd Mayweather.
You like a character, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a fucking solid top 3 though.
I got prepared, but for the ones that are about now. So
well, do now then. Let's switch it up. You can have the top 3
right,
for now.
I've got right now. I'd say top's Canelo because he has been up and down weights and he has been beating people. Then I'd say Crawford, and then Errol Spence.
Yeah,
Spence. Yeah.
All right, quick one. Crawford and Spence fight. Who wins?
That's a right fight.
That's a real fight. That.
I think that's the best fight that can be made right now.
I just hope it doesn't end up like Mayweather and Pacquiao where it's left too long and you know.
I have to go with with Crawford. Sorry, with Crawford. I just love he's got like this like dog mentality, and where he's just like not asked about anything, and he's just
Spence.
Like, do you see when he got dropped over there? Well, not dropped, but like he got caught with a punch because he turned southpaw from orthodox. So he turned southpaw, got dropped, and I think he stood up and he didn't turn back orthodox. I think he just wanted to prove that he can get dropped and stand up in other stance and still win, and he did it. Knocked the guy out. I think 11th round or something, was it?
Yeah.
I think Spence.
I love Crawford, mate.
Spence.
Yeah. Do you know what it is with Spence? He's very underrated. I think. Well, not underrated. He just like when you watch him, you think I don't know, but he's so good at reading him, and that jab that he's got. You know, he sort of takes his time and sets his traps really well.
Best fight out there at the minute, I think. Anyway.
Yeah. Well, hopefully they do it. Boxing's a fucker for waiting for some fights to happen. So fingers crossed. But yeah.
No.
Next one.
Second question: if you guys could go back in history, use my time machine, you can see any fight. Which one would it be?
Live front row, any fight.
Tyson, Lennox Lewis, definitely.
Yeah.
I love Lennox Lewis.
Well, do you know what? I watched it. I remember watching it on TV, and I was like a massive Mike Tyson fan at the time. I liked Lennox Lewis, but like just Mike Tyson. Everybody from that sort of era, if you didn't like Mike Tyson, he was just a character, wasn't he? It's an absolute head case.
I am Mike.
You fucking love watching them.
Right, these videos, man.
It broke my heart watching him get beat. Do you know when Danny Williams beat him?
Yeah.
And then Kevin McBride. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
He got beat after. It was sad watching that because he wasn't the same guy, was it?
Nah. In his prime, terrifying. Really.
Yeah.
Young Mike.
Really terrifying.
Imagine being standing in front of him in a ring.
No.
That's for
you two, man. That
was the thing though with him, wasn't it?
I'd follow with you if you took that.
He used to beat his opponents before he even got in the ring. You know, having some guy that stood in front of you like that saying the stuff that he'd say, he was just absolutely ruthless. You could see it if you watch a lot of his fights. You see him all they won't even look at him, and you can see the fear in their eyes before he's even started. He used to say stuff like he'd try and punch him underneath the nose to try and put the nose through the brain. And it's just savage.
That's the right word. It is fucking savage.
There hasn't been anybody like him since, really. You know, and do you know what I found a bit disrespectful when Wilder was saying that if he'd gone back in time, he'd have beaten him, and he's a better fighter than him. And I
think Wilder just does that for publicity, though.
Yeah, I know.
Can't surely think that.
Tyson would fucking kill him, man.
Yeah.
Get inside that shitty jab.
Have you seen that video where Tyson's getting an interview after his fight? He's like, I broke my back.
That's my
favourite video ever.
What do you mean?
My back is broke.
Spinal. Oh, shit.
It's a good video, that.
Last question. So if you guys could lay out any celeb, who would it be and why? Who's go first?
You said you were prepared, man.
Well, I haven't been in. Right, I couldn't think of anybody in the car. And you're
probably Mike Tyson, because that'd be a right feeling, wouldn't it?
It would. But then, have you guys got kids?
No.
Don't say you want to knock your kid out.
No, there's a guy. No, do you know what it is? Right, there's a guy. Look him up. A guy called Mr. Tumble.
Mr. Tumble.
Right, I swear. Right, you've got to look him
horrible.
up. If I had a chance, I would lay him out. Trust me. You need to watch some videos, right? And then next time you see me, you come up to me and say, I see exactly what you mean now.
Mr. Tumble. I will take that. Who you going for, Mike?
I asked you earlier if it can be a woman.
A woman beater. Yeah, that's him. What? You need to watch videos.
I think a bit of see it. Fucking Mr. Tumble.
Horrible, man.
You wouldn't be saying that if you watched him. You need to go home and watch, and you'll see exactly what I mean.
Shit.
My girlfriend sometimes watches The Only Way Is Essex, and I can't start that Gemma Collins.
I don't like any of them on there.
Probably all right. She might not comment. Well done, man. That's it.
Boys, if people want to find you, they want to hit you up on your socials, where can they go for that?
He's too old for it.
Yeah, listen, hit him up. I've only just got my head around Facebook and Snapchat, so...
Yeah. Michael Fafera on Instagram and on Facebook. Yeah, that's it.
Michael Ferreira's on. Boom. Simple.
Fafera.
Fafera. Boys, thank you.
Just stop. Nice one, boys. Cheers.
Cheers, mate.
Thank you.
Fuck, I'm sweating my ass.